Good morning, my friends. I'm Pastor Ben Hayes from First Baptist Church, Dadeville, Alabama, bringing you our thought for the day on a terrific Tuesday. And I hope that you are having a great day today. Join me in Romans chapter 15 as we pick up in verse 25. Paul is making his final comments to these believers in Rome, people he's never met before, people because he's never been to Rome before. And he's making plans to go, but he's never been there yet. And he says, right now, I'm going to Jerusalem, verse 25, to minister to the saints. Now, why is he going there? Listen. It says, for it pleased those from Macedonia and Achaia to make a certain contribution for the poor among the saints who are in Jerusalem. It pleased them indeed, and they are their debtors. For if the Gentiles have been partakers of their spiritual things, their duty is also to minister to them in material things. Wow. This is interesting, isn't it? Now, here's what Paul is talking about. The believers in Jerusalem were suffering. They were struggling because in Jerusalem, the heart of the Jewish nation, if you became a believer, you were ostracized from your family. Your business was destroyed. Sometimes your homes were destroyed. Your family rejected you. And so they were struggling just to survive, not to mention the persecution that was coming from the Pharisees and the Sanhedrin and from the Romans that was beginning to take place at this particular point in time. And so there was a lot of need there. So the churches in Macedonia and Achaia had heard that, so they taking this collection, this money, to share with the Jewish people in Jerusalem. And listen to what Paul says again. Listen to it again. He says, it pleased them indeed, and they are their debtors. Now, what's he talking about here? Well, here's the truth. We are grafted into the tree, right? God grafted us into the kingdom. We are part of the kingdom because God chose to bring us in. But it is through the Jewish nation, the Jewish people, that salvation has come. God has used the nation of Israel to bring about the greatest gift of all time, and that is, of course, the birth of his son Jesus, the Messiah of the world. And Paul is saying because of this, the Gentiles owe a debt to the Jewish people. Their duty, he says, is also to minister to them in material things. Now, I want you to think about this today, because we too are in debt to the Jewish nation. Yes, it's been 2,000 years, and I know that a lot of things have happened, and a lot of people have said horrible things about the nation of Israel and the Jewish people. But I want you to understand something here. We still are indebted to them, and we have been commanded to pray for them, to pray for the peace of Jerusalem, to pray that God would bless them. And the promise that God made to Abraham is still in effect. You remember what he said? He says, I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse those who curse you. And you see why throughout the years, except when God chose to judge the nation of Israel. When God chose to judge the nation of Israel, understand that was God's wrath, God's judgment. But every nation that has come against Israel has failed. Every nation has suffered the wrath of God because of that. When we turn our backs on the nation of Israel, you can expect that we too will suffer the wrath of God. It is imperative that we recognize that God still has a plan for Israel, and we as believers still must have a passion for the nation of Israel, to support them, to pray for them, and to encourage our leaders to take care of the things that are happening in Israel, to help them as much as possible. Yes, I know that we are in a tremendous deficit. Yes, I know that we have troubles here at home. And my heart breaks for so many things that are happening in the United States that our government has just neglected. But I want you to understand it is imperative that we support the nation of Israel. And if you can't do anything else but pray for them, please join in prayer for them. Because Paul says, understand, we are in debt to them as Gentiles. And then look at what he says, verse 28, as we close with this. He says, therefore, when I have performed this and have sealed to them this fruit, I shall go by way of you to Spain. He still has his heart. He wants to come to Rome. on his journey to Spain so that he can proclaim the gospel where the gospel has never been proclaimed before. It is the calling that he has as an apostle. It's the calling that you and I have to go into all the world and make disciples. Now, our special calling may be a little different. Maybe you're called to teach a Sunday school class. Think about that. What if one of those fifth graders that you're teaching in Sunday school turns into a missionary? You've gone into all the world to make disciples. Be blessed. I'll see you back here tomorrow.